So probably none of you are going to listen to me tonight. I'm going to speak for 15 minutes or so. You're going to think maybe this guy's onto something. Maybe he's an idiot. Maybe he's full of it. You're going to go home tonight, you'll scroll on your phone, you'll go home, you sleep, you wake up in the next morning, and you forget everything that I said. And I'm hoping if I say that way, just one of you will go, fuck you, Stan. I'm going to prove you wrong. And so that's my goal. Okay, I just want one of you to be as arrogant as me and prove me wrong. And I know that someone will, because I've listened to all the speakers tonight. One of the most daunting things going last, but anyway, I listened to all of them, and we obviously got a room full of ambitious people. We've got a room full of people who are curious, who want to do more with their life, who want to achieve more, and who want to tick off some big, hairy goals on some of these challenges that you heard some of these speakers are already trying to tackle. Well, let's go back a bit. Who am I? Well, I grew up in South Auckland. For those of you who know South Auckland, I grew up in the 90s there. There's a little town there called Manadera. And in the 90s, Manadera was the crime capital of New Zealand, so it was a really awesome place to grow up as a young kid. I was half Cook Islander, I'm half white, so I didn't really belong anywhere, right? And in that environment, you're not really taught to dream. You're taught to just go through the motions that everyone else who came before you do. And I was one of those kids who had their dreams squashed, and I really was just becoming a statistic. I moved to Australia. I fell into hospitality. I had pretty mundane jobs, like I cleaned tables, vomit. I cleared tables, and I served drinks. But I was lucky enough to meet a guy called Vikas Malhotra, who pulled me aside when I was young, and he said to me, Stan, you're a pretty clever kid. People, they follow you, they listen to you. I think that if you just applied just an ounce of any of the stuff that you've got, you could probably do something with this career. And so he enabled this pathway for me where I had 12 jobs over 11 years, being a bit of a Mr. Fix-It, going into hotels and helping them get better. But in that same time, I also got fired 3 times, and I was homeless for 6 weeks. And so it was a pretty rocky path as I went through it. But by the end of it, I ended up being a general manager of hotels. And one time I was taking a holiday for 2.5 years, and I was in India. And I got an email from the hotel owners at the time, whose hotel I ran. And they were complaining that I wasn't there to help the business grow and move forward, even though at that particular January, we were doing more profit than the hotel had done revenue in any previous January. So I was in a good spot. But I realized at that point, it was never ever going to be enough. That from that point on, I was always going to be building someone else's empire until I figured out how to go and do it for myself. And so I pretty much went home, went to my kitchen table, convinced my wife to move back to New Zealand and start my own business. I had no idea what that business was going to be. I just knew that I had something. I could probably talk a lot. I was really good with jazz hands. And I reckon if I just networked the hell out of Auckland, I could convince people to pay me money. And so that's what I did for 6 months. I just talked to as many people as I could. And slowly but surely, we started to build a business called The Attention Seeker. And we became, by way of followers at least, and by way of reach, the largest social media company globally. And we've had campaigns that have been the best on the platforms globally. Best performing ad on TikTok. All of that from this little South Auckland kid who just decided that, you know what, I'm going to try build something for myself. But typically, in that short time, that was 6 or so years, that sort of reach isn't really possible. Usually you have 2 ways to build a business or a career. You have time or you have money. Those are the 2 paths. You either grind away, you do the internship, you start at the bottom rung of the ladder and you work your way up, you get the coffees, you do the paperwork, and eventually, if you're lucky, you get promoted. And one day, when you're old and you can't do anything with that money, you finally got it. On the other side of it, you get money and you accelerate that. You got a rich dad, you get some investors, maybe you're fortunate that somehow a bank gave you a loan, and you use that money to accelerate that growth. Well, in today's world, that time path is getting broken apart. AI is just ripping off those bottom rungs of the ladder. They don't exist anymore. No one needs them. We don't need these entry-level jobs to help our business progress. AI just does it all. It's changed the game. It's also meant that the speed at which things are changing, the time path relied on your business still being relevant in the future. And with AI changing like daily at the moment, hourly, that's just no longer the case. And unfortunately, we all live in New Zealand, well, I think so, and our access to capital is pretty shit here. And if you've ever tried to raise money, you probably didn't because you're sitting here and not some billionaire in Silicon Valley. It's just a hard thing. We have crap access to capital. So, pretty bleak situation. And then we start to go, oh, well, what if I just start to blame people instead? What if I just become the victim, right? What if only I could get that investor? If only I could get that job? If only this person would help me do this thing? If only someone else would do their part so I could be successful? And my brother gave me some really good advice when I was young, and it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me, and he can't even remember it, and I think he just did it to shut me up. But I used to be a kid who came up with lots of ideas. I was always like this kid, oh, I can do this and I can do that. But they always relied on someone else doing their part so I could do my part. And he said to me, until you can figure out an idea that you can do on your own stand without the need of anyone else, you're not going to be successful. And he didn't mean that like you don't get people to help you or be around you. He just meant if that idea relies on someone else, that you can't drive it forward on your own, then you're never going to be able to succeed. And it was the best advice I ever got, and it stuck with me. It took me a few years to figure out what it was, because I think I was like 11 when he told me to shatter my dreams. But it stuck with me. And as my career grew and my business grew, it became more and more relevant. And then, as the world changed with, obviously, social media and Google search and all that, and then more recently with AI completely changing everything we ever did, we realized that information is free, and that if you have knowledge, it means nothing, because whatever you know, this thing here knows it and can communicate it to me even better, just as Hercules just told us. And so it's not even that information is free, I can now get it to do it all too. I can build an app by the end of tonight by talking to it. And if you've watched any of my Instagram, I talk to it way too much. And I build way too many stupid apps that are never going to do anything, but I can do that. That wasn't possible recently, as last year you couldn't do it to that extent. Which means that like being able to do stuff or having the idea isn't enough anymore. Like just having an idea and the knowledge isn't enough, because anyone can have an idea. And back when I had lots of ideas and I relied on all these other people, I could have kept those ideas and I could have just went to Claude and said, hey, I got this idea, can we do it? And it's like, yep, here you go. Here's the steps. I'm going to build it for you. That's possible now. That wasn't possible even a few months ago, really, for most people. And so, you know, a lot of people would have studied. And maybe I'll annoy Victoria University, but like studying isn't enough anymore. Like it's not going to get you the job. It's not going to build the career. It's not going to do anything. Because everyone can get access to that same information that you're learning at their fingertips. What is important, though, are the scars. And that comes from the people with experience, the people who have done stuff, who have gone out there, tried, attempted to fail, and they've got the receipts. They've proven it. They've talked about it. People know that they've done it. People have seen them go through this journey of trying their best, trying to build stuff. And if they get there or not, whatever, it doesn't actually really matter. It just matters that people know that you've tried, and they'll assign that experience to you. And that's what's happening. And we're seeing it all over the world, where people who have tried the most are starting to really win. They're starting to take over from the people who just know lots, and they're being trusted more and more because we've seen their journey, we've seen them play out. Which then leads me to a third way of growing your career or your business. And it's this idea I call attention first. And for a lot of you, you'll probably sit there and think, this is a terrible idea. I hate the idea of putting myself on social media. I hate the idea of putting myself out there. I'm going to use the Kiwi excuse of being too poppy or something. You're going to make up some other excuse of why you can't do it. But I want to say that this approach of attention first allows you to scale or build a career at a speed much faster than time can allow you, and with far less capital than the money side needs and requires. You all have a phone. You all have a device in your pockets or purse or wherever you keep it that enables you to literally reach the world the moment you hit post. Yet so many of us are too scared to do it. We're insecure. We make up excuses like, I don't want to be on TikTok. I don't want to dance. And no one's asking you to. I definitely can't. But all I am saying is that as a takeaway for today, the thing that I know you won't do is this. I just know you won't. You're not going to do it. You're not going to put yourself first. You're not going to put your ideas out there. You're not going to show this journey that you're on to build your business or your career. There's people in the audience who are trying to change the world, yet you're unwilling to tell the world about it. You're unwilling to put it out there in case someone criticizes you, or you're thinking you're going to wait till you get it perfect before you tell them. But as I said, like, no one cares about that anymore. Everyone wants to watch you do it. They want to watch the journey. They want to watch you go on this path to achieve these things that you said you're going to do. And who am I to say that? Well, this business that we built, as I mentioned, became one of the biggest social media agencies from a volume perspective, from a views perspective, which is the metric, I guess, we're judged on, is how much attention can we get. We generate over billions of views every year for us and our clients. And we're able to take this small little agency out of Auckland and take it globally with clients in the US, with Fortune 100 companies in the US and UK, UAE, and Australia, and generate tens of millions of dollars within like 6 years. And it's not to brag, it's just to say, like, it's done, it's possible. And to make it even more crazy, I did most of that on LinkedIn, not even on the Instagram or TikTok that most people think. And when we think about just LinkedIn for a second, we think that it's intuitive for us to think that there's so much saturation on these platforms. There's so much content out there, it's just noise. The truth of it is, there's almost no one posting and almost no one watching it. On LinkedIn, only 1% of LinkedIn users post any given month, which means that 99% of the people are just there, doing nothing. And actually, when you think about Instagram or TikTok, you might be at a higher percentage. You might be at like 10, 15% of people are posting more regularly, but still the majority aren't. And the majority aren't watching as well. Whoops, sorry, pardon me. Most of them aren't watching as well. If you think about a 100 million view video on Instagram, it means 1.9 billion people on the platform didn't see it. It means most people aren't seeing the content going out. I don't know about you, how many people had a 100 million view video? No, not me. So most of us are not even getting the viewership. Most of it is no saturation. The stage is empty. The mic's there for the taking. But most of you will do nothing. Most of you will have these ideas of grandeur. You'll want to succeed in some big, ambitious career. You're going to try to change the world. Some of the ideas that we heard today, you'll think amazing. How can you get into it? But you won't do the thing that I'm telling you right now is a differentiator. That getting your ideas out, that showing the journey, that showing the scars, building a reputation, allowing people to know who you are before you walk in a room, like most of you just won't do it. Even though I've shown you that some kid from South Auckland who just decided to post every day on LinkedIn managed to figure it out and do it himself. And I'm not the only one. There's millions of people out there who have been able to build amazing careers and businesses and done stuff for the planet, for the world, for good, just by rocking up and putting up a selfie, putting up a post, putting up a video. And in a few years' time, when you're still stuck, and those of you who are just graduating and you can't get a job because there's no jobs left, and I get 1,100 people apply for a junior role, and we hire one. And these days, we don't even put the junior roles up anymore because I give it to Claude, Claude's going to do it better than you, doesn't want a lunch break, works all night, and they can spin up 100 Claudes at once. Don't come at me or anyone else who stands on the stage and has just told you this. And there are better people than me. There's much better people than me on stage tonight who are doing much better things for the environment and for the planet and for the world and for society. But I'm building something inside of a system that was broken, that wasn't there to help me, and I did it using a tool that we all have access to. And so this threshold is simple. It's a doorway. On the other side of it is that life that you looked for, that career you wanted, that goal you've got. And all you have to do is just post a picture, post a video. It's not that hard. Go to LinkedIn, go to Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Post the first thing. Once you've done that, post the second one. Then the third, then the fourth. In a year's time, you won't even recognize the life that you have. And so, as I wrap this up, most of you won't. I can see you all. Those of you laughing and giggling, yep, you're not going to do it. I get it. But there's one person in here who hasn't laughed at all, who's looked at me going, fuck you, Stan. And so to that person, prove me wrong. Thanks.